Yo, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be giving you a list of the top 10 best seeds to plant in the 2023 growing season. I'll also make sure to put all growing zones into accountability while making this video. So at the number 10 spot, I decided to put raspberries. So raspberries are best grown in growing zones above 5A and are also very good for your garden. A quick recommendation whilst growing these is to give some form of protection against deer, since they love to eat away raspberry plants, of course. So if you don't want to taste deer saliva, then cage them up in some form of cage. I'll give them a 6 out of 10 on my growing score, which take aspects of these plants into contrast. So at the number 9 spot, I decided to place basil. They aren't the most interesting plant in the garden, but they're really good with pizza. It also will help protect tomatoes from numerous beetles. But the reason they aren't any higher on this list is quite simple. Like I said earlier, they aren't the most interesting plant in the garden. Also give them a 6.7 out of 10. Now at the number 8 spot, I decided to put basic spices here. So this is like oregano, basil, which I decided to exclude from this, since they're really just about the same as basil, except some may guard certain plants from being absolutely decimated by the local deer population. That's oregano for you. I'll give them a 7 out of 10. At the number 7 spot, I decided to place blueberries. Now the reason they aren't any higher on this list is very simple. If you have no toleration of plants that take forever to come in, and this isn't for you, it takes 2 to 3 years for these plants to come in and actually produce. And those obnoxious sparrows and blue jays who come in and pick them right off before even any of the blueberries are ever ready. I'll give them a 7.2 out of 10. Now at the number 6 spot, I decided to place the entire squash family, excluding zucchini, because they're going to be at a higher spot on this list, which does include pumpkin, squash, and gourds. Now if you want a full video on these, it'll be in an info card currently linked on the screen. But these guys, the only reason they aren't higher on this list is very simple. They are significantly harder to grow, which hinders their ability to make it into my top 5 list. I'll just give them a 7.8 out of 10 for littering. Now at the number 5 spot, I'm going to end up putting strawberries. Now these guys have an absolute tendency to mass produce at the beginning of the season, but then go radio silent until early fall. They don't produce as much at the start of the plant's life, but they go all out in their 2nd or 3rd year. They also live up to 7 years, which is a plus side. I'll give them an 8 out of 10. Now at the number 4 spot, I'm going to have to put carrots. These are an absolute beginner's plant, which can be planted at any point in the season. But either way, they are so easy to plant and only take about 90 to 120 days until you can harvest them. I'll give them an 8.3. Now at the number 3 spot, I'm going to put zucchini. Now the reason I didn't put them with the other squash plants is quite simple. They're significantly easier to grow, which also makes them quite easy to harvest. I'm going to give them an 8.7 out of 10. At the number 2 spot, I'm going to put collards or collard greens, depending on which way you call them. Now, the only plant on this list I haven't grown is this one, obviously. But looking at other people's growing experience and how they grew it, I can safely say that they're amazing plants to grow, since people's opinions on this is pretty decent. I'll give them a 9 out of 10. I just want to do a brief little 15-second honorable mention. It's going to be corn. Now, they're still very hard to grow, but I still figured I'd put them on this list either way because they were pretty helpful. The number 1 spot, I'm putting very obviously tomatoes, all varieties, of course. I'm sorry, there are just too many possibilities with these plants. They also make S-tier sandwiches, which for that reason alone, giving them a 10 out of 10. Now, if you like what you just saw, please like and subscribe. And if you look at the screen, there are 2 videos waiting for you to watch. I promise you, they're not in 360p, so just watch them. It's not going to take too much time.